Welcome to the Black Men Experiences channel. I'm your host, CP. In today's topic, 3 black men were attacked by this faction of Hell's Angels in San Diego. The hatred leader was sentenced to hate crime. It's a few others got some hate crimes too. All of them should have got hate crimes. The hatred and excuses for what happened, it was very demonic because there were some excuses that tried to be made on why did it happen. Let me go ahead and play this particular first video. One moment, hero. One moment, hero. All right. Okay. To get that right, hero. Okay. All right. Make sure that is played, hero. I'm just going to play this for a few minutes.
Members of the Hells Angels biker gang appeared in court today, accused in what prosecutors say was a racially motivated attack on 3 black men in Ocean Beach. Good evening, I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. 17 defendants were indicted last month, and 18th defendant appeared today. CBS 8's David Goffin was in court for the appearances.
Do each of you enter a general time waiver so we can modify that date?
Only 4 of the 18 defendants in the Hells Angel assault case remain in jail, including the main defendant, Troy Skolder, charged with attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon, namely a knife. The other defendants have all bailed out of jail, and they appeared in court Friday one by one for a hearing to set future court dates. They are charged in an attack outside an Ocean Beach bar in June on 3 black men, ages 19, 20, and 21. District Attorney Summer Stephan announced the grand jury indictments in September.
It's possible that the attack was triggered because one of them dared to talk to one of the girlfriends of these members.
Skolder is accused of stabbing one of the victims in the chest. He faces 39 years to life.
What's the excuse in that again? 3 black men were attacked violently, hate crimes, because one man, it is said, allegedly he may have said something or tried to talk to one of the Hells Angels girlfriends. So these 3 black men, right? They were drunk and didn't know any better. And one of them just said, you know what? Yes, I see that woman over there. She's with that Hells Angels guy. Let me go ahead and try to holler at her, right? You see how the excuses go, right? That is one of the most archaic things that must be played in various types of black personnel in America, especially males. It must be relayed over. Oh my goodness, they must have been talking to a white woman. Well, that's what they get because they should be talking to a white woman, right? A black man can talk to who the freak he wants to talk to. Just like the Sister of Chaos women can sit there and talk to a white male, an Hispanic male, a Asian male, a Native American male, right? A Oompa Loompa male, doesn't matter, right? But for some darn reason, if a black male decides to talk to someone else, another culture, another woman, oh my goodness, Well, if he gets jumped on, or he gets assaulted, or his life is removed, well, that's on him then, right? See the discussing out of the games, right? But let a black woman get beat down or let her life get murdered by a Caucasian male or another male, and it has happened numbers of times. You don't hear them saying, well, that's what she is. Well, she should have talked to that Anglo guy. She should talk to that Hispanic guy. You see the point, right? And it's not enough black males. So who's the HELL do people think they are to try to make excuses for things like this? It was a hate crime. And by the way, it wasn't just numbers of Anglos within the Padambe's culture. It was also white Hispanics that took the involvement with beating down these 3 black males on that, right? So let me read you this particular part of this because I don't make this long show. A grand jury indicted 17 members and associates of a Hells Angels motorcycle gang in the seemingly unprovoked and brutal attack attacking 3 black men in San Diego this spring. This is 2023. Today is June the 13th, 2025. And it talks about how the assault occurred June the 6th, 2023 in the Ocean Beach neighborhood of San Diego. The 3 black victims, ages 19, 20, and 21, were all together on Newport Avenue when they were chased by members of the Hells Angels biker gangs. Prosecutionists said one of the black men might have, you hear that word, might have, you don't know if they did or not, right? Might have spoken to a girlfriend of one of the bikers before the pursuit. Again, you hear the excuses. Well, yeah, they didn't know any better. They saw this Caucasian girlfriend or white Hispanic girlfriend just doing her thing right by her boyfriend, and they didn't care about that, right? You see how this dumb crowd goes. Anything that it can be relayed over to sit there and dilute down the hatred of black male pain, right? One black victim was beaten until he lost consciousness, while another black man was beaten and stabbed, allegedly by the leader of the gang, identified by the prosecutor as Troy, anti-black American, demonic KKK Schroeder, 43 years old at that time. The third targeted black male was able to run away and escape injury, right? Most investigationists by this particular enforcement and some other personnel led to the indictment of 14 people on charges of assault likely to cause bodily injury and special allegations of being part of a criminal street gang. 11 other charges had additional hate crime enhancements. Right? But watch this. But you got people that they see nothing, they hear nothing, and they know nothing when it's dealing with black males, especially black American males, right? So you ask the question, what other male in America for centuries, right, who have been put in enslavement, beat down, numbers of black males being robbed, REPED, numbers of black males sit there and lynch, black males put in chain gangs left and right, black males sitting there serving with distinction and assertiveness more than anybody else besides certain males within the Padambe's culture. Males sit there and still are told to you can't go to these colleges, even though they had just as much brains as the other Caucasian personnel. So again, I ask you this question: what other males again in society who's had the most hatred toward them and get no reparations out of it? Nobody else. Black males, black American males. and they know the system knows, should we say, there's not enough Black American males to say enough of this, of these contradiction and hypocrisy toward Black males and hatred put upon Black males, and you must blame Black males for anything that happens in society. Border breakup, legal immigrants doing their thing right now with chaotic chaos in LA, Chicago, all these other places and stuff like that, parts of Texas. Blame it. Some reason we got to see we can blame on Black males, right? You see how it goes. Let me play some particular video, right? And it's very beyond disgusting on this situation, on this. One moment here. All right, here we go. This is talking about the main leader. We're talking about that the Troy, again, super KKK, anti-American Black Schroeder on this situation. 1 second here, make sure it's gonna be see this pretty good. All right.
For assaulting 3 Black men. And today, a judge sentenced a leader of the Hells Angels biker gang to 14 years to life for assaulting 3 Black men. And he added 7 years for related hate crimes.
It happened 3 years ago in San Diego's Ocean Beach neighborhood, and we do want to warn you here, some of the details are graphic. NBC7's Jeanette Quesada joins us from the San Diego Central Courthouse now with the details. Jeanette.
Well, that man appeared in a blue uniform. His family was also present in the courtroom for that sentencing, and he was sentenced to 14 years to life with 7 more additional years for related crimes.
Mr. Shoulder pulls out his pocket knife and he stabs the victim in the chest. And I want to address some of how Mr. Shoulder characterizes his actions as to what actually happened. So Mr. Shoulder says in his letter to the court that essentially his plan was, I think he said, to poke him in the thigh for reasons that are not entirely clear to me. That essentially his plan was, I think he said, to poke him in the thigh for reasons that are not entirely clear to me. Why on earth he would want to do that?
44-year-old Troy Anthony Shoulder is described as a longtime Hells Angel leader. He was among 17 members of the gang who assaulted 3 Black men on Newport Avenue. 4-year-old Troy Anthony Shoulder is described as year-old Troy.
On earth he would want to do that.
44-year-old Troy Anthony Shoulder is described as a longtime Hells Angel leader. He was among 17 members of the gang who assaulted 3 Black men on Newport Avenue. The attack was triggered because one of them dared to talk to one of the girlfriends of one of the members.
Here, you see, here we go again. See the excuses, right? You got to sit there and figure out how to sit there and make the Black male guilty in some kind of way. Well, yeah, one of them was sitting there trying to talk to this, Caucasian woman or white Hispanic woman of one of the bikers. Yeah, he didn't know any better. He just sits there and said, I don't care about that. That guy, that white Hispanic angel, Hell's Angel, that Caucasian Hell's Angel, Hell's Angel member. I don't care. I'm going to still talk to her. Do you see this mentality? Right? You see how this goes. You must try to figure out how to make excuses for that. And that's the question. Then how do you explain the other two? The other two ain't got anything to do with that, right? Of course not.
Prosecutors say, according to the court documents, they repeatedly told the victims racial slurs and told them they didn't belong in that neighborhood.
Bam. See, that's one of the main sit there excuses. They saw these Black males, right, enjoying themselves, and they felt that those niggas should not be in this neighborhood. But see, the impetus is to sit there and utilize the excuse of, well, one of them was sitting there talking to the girlfriend of one of the members. But they don't sit there and say, oh, yeah, we saw there's a video showing that he was talking to. I'm going to talk about it in just a second. Nowhere in this particular, the conversation about the video that was saying that people saw, that it said that, oh, yeah, we saw where it was talking about how this Black male was talking to one of the Hells Angels girlfriends in that area. Doesn't even say anything about the video showing that. So you see how this disgusting tactic goes, right, on this situation. But the real impetus of this is that it had to be a reason to get to find a way to say something to them, right? To egg them on for them to sit there, for those black males to say something back to them. You see how that goes, right? Forget y'all, man. Nigga, forget you, nigga. Well, forget you. Opening time. You don't belong here. And then, you know, the argument going back and forth, right? See how that goes, right?
One victim was able to escape by running. A second victim was punched and kicked in the face and all over his body, leaving him unconscious on the sidewalk. Then prosecutors say Shoulder pulled out a knife, rolled the third victim on his side to expose his heart and chest, and stab him in the chest, cracking his sternum.
But
Question. Just say hypothetically, if one of the black males did have the knowledge to sit there and talk to this, Hell's Angels, this particular one, white Hispanic girlfriend or Caucasian girlfriend, right? He didn't know any better, right? He didn't care about anything, right? How the freakazoid Toastmastersness, a freakazoid, Toastmaster, toast dinosaur tail to explain how the racial epithets were used. What they got to do with one of the black males supposedly trying to talk to one of the girlfriends, huh? Nothing, right? Why they got to beat down the other two then? What they got to do with one talking to supposedly one of the girlfriends? Nothing. It was pure hatred of these three black males, and it had to be impetus of an excuse to sit there and try to get them, egging them on to sit there and make them sit there and say something back to those racial racism terrorists, dozen plus members within that particular Hells Angels particular faction, those particular ones, right? On that. Now, if it was vice versa, there would have been no excuses or nothing. It'd be like, oh my goodness, these particular gang men, these particular black people from these gang members, oh my goodness, they jumped these three white males, and it was because of one of the white males trying to talk to one of the black gang's girlfriend. Oh no, they ain't gonna sit there and say no stuff like that, right? It'd be just like these black males sitting there jump the innocent black white males. Got to know these games.
what the video shows is that Mr. Shoulder stands over the victim. He rolls the victim onto his side to get him in a better position. He opens his knife and he plunges it into the victim's chest.
What's the excuse again on that? You didn't hear anything about the video showing that one of the black males was talking to one of the Hells Angels, that particular San Diego version girlfriend, because that didn't happen like that. And again, if it did happen, what is it? So talking to that particular Hells Angels girlfriend that did not happen, then precipitates that the stabbing of that black male, right? They say what black male was the one supposedly he talked to the Hells Angels girlfriend, or was it one of the other black males, right? Either way, stabbing, almost breaking the sternum. That's hate.
And I understand that Mr. Shoulder said in his letter that he's adamant that his thumb was on the blade, as if that was somehow going to stop the knife from moving in. But that's not what happened. The only reason that wound wasn't even deeper is because it hit Mr. Lewis's sternum.
So he was trying to sit there and plunge that knife through his chest, and it happened to hit that sternum area, and that was the only reason it didn't even go straight through like that, like the way he wanted it to, right? Because that knife, it would have been a certain type of, anyway, a different kind of knife, or the way, anyway. But again, they see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing, right? There is an emergency-ness of black male pain. Yes. 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 Let me sit there and play something from the great Dr. Amos Wilson, the Black American uh, psychologist and professor. Because you remember, black folks are lazy, right? Black folks don't got no culture, nothing like that. Get out of here with that. Because they're the ones who play that little child, play that tactic, right? Let's see what this great Dr. Amos Wilson says.
Back at its 1960s levels. We have reached the point where the black male is essentially economically obsolete and useless. And this is at the bottom of this war that's getting ready to develop on the black male.
That's right. There's a wardness even more toward the black male. And unfortunately, there is not enough black men to see that there is a wardness. And this also is going to come from various other personnel from various other Pacific cultures within Americanism. Right. And unfortunately, black man, collectively, black American man is the most openest male in America. And unfortunately, that is going to be the downfall of many types of black males. And this is why I always like to say, if black males collectively do not sit there and read through these tactics that's going on, that's happening right now, unfortunately, then the black man collectively only has half a generation to one generation left before the overall complete destruction, not only of the American black culture, of definitely the American black men. That's right. Right. Something's about to change immediately in this near future. Now, personally, my observation for been doing this for quite a number of years, that because of so many internal problems going on that has been created and has not been acknowledged in the way to reduce down or get the solutions. Well, there's no such thing as a complete solution because supremacists control the system, but reduce down of the net picking toward American blacks and especially American black men, because so many problems that are continuously being allowed, right? And that goes for numbers of, unfortunately, certain types of political sellouts and some ones who are, and there's also what we call some tetherings, ones who know they are, right? That they're put in place to take the place of black people. Right. And there's good people, bad people that are not necessarily black Americans, but there are some good people and good people that say not black Americans. In the States, they say, hey, look, we show the respect till we understand, for without many types of black Americans who's done so much for centuries, many of us wouldn't be in America. Right. And credit given to those kind. But those are a small number. Collectively, the various other ones, they are on America to get theirs. And they're willing to step right on over black males' bodies, figuratively and literally, to sit there and lie and connive and mischievous their ways in political, economically, socially. And unfortunately, there's not enough numbers of American black males collectively to understand this situation on this. This guy right here, he showed complete KKK anti-American blackism on this situation, on that. The last thing I want to read you was relating to that specifically person, or that demonic one we was talking about. Andrew Schroeder, a member of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang, will serve a prison sentence of 21 years to life for stabbing a black man in the chest during a racially motivated attack in 2023. According to NBC San Diego, Troy Andrew KKK, again, super anti-American black Schroeder, who the San Diego County particular office placement personnel, this particular personnel labeled a longtime leader of a San Diego County Hells Angels chapter, was sentenced for his role in the attack on the 3 black men on June 6th of 2023. A jury convicted him of attempted murder, assault, and a hate crime allegation. It wasn't a hate crime allegation. See, when they want to sit there and say black folks did something, there's no allegation. It's, oh, they did it, right? You see how this little nonsense goes. The black male victims were ages 19, 20, and 21, had been chased down by members of the gang after one of them had allegedly spoken to one of the gang members' girlfriends. We already talked about that, right? That nonsense, right? That did not happen. Because nowhere people say in the video that happened. They were sitting there. They saw the Negro 3 males. They felt that they need to figure out, get an impetus to try to sit there and edge them on, to sit there and call some, because they were looking to sit there and jump on some Negroes, right? And they happened to be there at that particular time, right? And had to use that situation to sit there and impart themselves into black male pain, right? They chased the 3 black men. One escaped. The other 2 were severely beaten by these particular gang members, these particular Hells Angels gang members, and used racial epithets. No, nig, while telling them that they didn't belong in that neighborhood. This is why, again, that N word needs to be put in a trash can. It is a destroying word. And then ask the question, how is it that some other people, some other cultures, they want to use that word so bad? Well, why you want to use that word? I don't know. Why can't we use it? You sound silly. You don't even know what the people who do it, you don't even know, they don't even know what it means. But you want to use the word yourself. You know how the ignorance that sound, right? That's like a black American man going to another country and he sits there and observes. He said, wait a minute, why are these people in extreme poverty? Why is corruption going on like this? Why is this going on? Why is this going on over here? Why are these little factions going on with intertribalism going on with each other? And etc. things going on with one another, right? And he hears these little words, hey, black American man, over there, that particular tribe over there in that area, or these particular people in that town over there, don't deal with them because they're a pot cheese. That pot cheese. What's a pot cheese? Man, this pot cheese. Okay. And then he sees the same type people. He said, hey, man, pot cheese. What's up, pot cheese? You see how that goes, right? You be like, why are you saying that? Well, I don't know. I mean, why can I say that? I heard some other people say pot cheese. Don't worry. Hey, don't talk to those pot cheese people over there. You see the crazy of the situation. But numbers of people feel they need to say that one of the most disgusting, one of the most non-enduring words ever in the lexicon in the American language, one of the most hateful words ever to be created. Well, I mean, black people use it. What do black people use it? Overall, black folks don't use that word. So what are you talking about? I mean, so you got them then because they sound silly as I don't know what. So it's like, well, I mean, I hear what you're talking about. I mean, I use it sometimes to the people, some other culture background. I use it sometimes a little bit, but I don't use it. Oh. Yeah, we're not going to play this disgusting game because, again, black American males are not going to be going to travel in different countries or islands or wherever it is. And they sit there and observe or hear something about, hey, man, don't talk to these kind of people over in that area because they're of this. Don't talk to these other people in that particular town. They this and all that. Don't talk to those particular people of that tribe or that tribe. All this kind of stuff. Why not, man? I don't know about them. They ain't doing anything to me. No, man. Don't say anything to them. I mean, they're thieves and they're robbers. They're this and all that. Don't talk to them. And there are some truth to some situations, right? But the whole point is, if black American males were using some kind of slang towards certain other people in some other countries or islands that some of them use towards some of the other people, or some of the people use towards some of the immigration personnel that go to certain other places and stuff like that. If black American males doing that, they'd be like, why are you using that derogatory word towards? I hear other people saying it. You see how silly that sounds. So that word needs to be destroyed and thrown in the ash cans of history and let it be that way. Now, fortunately, it's ingrained, unfortunately, in certain types of black people's culture, which is not the reality of 50 years ago, because 50 years ago, black people, what kind of words like that, left and right, at that level. There are some bad versions of hip hop, unfortunately, but back in the 70s, you still had, the 80s, should I say, you still had a more of an additional collection of hip hop, constructive hip hop, positive hip hop, right? Hip hop that made you think. Now it's been made to sit there and just utilize the bad versions overall, and N-word this and bitch this and all that, and all these other set derogatory terminology where you got numbers of black women call themselves that, and how many other numbers of women from other cultures utilizing those same words, right? So that goes, right? But and finishing up, that talks about how, again, the black victims were just walking down the street in Ocean Beach before they were racially attacked, basically. She said, the person who was relaying this over, she said that one of the witnesses observed they were beaten within an inch of their lives. Schroeder's prison sentence was doubled because he was convicted years ago after pleading guilty to robbing a former Hells Angels member who was trying to leave the game. Does that sound like that personnel has a mistaken identity within themselves, right? Does that sound like that personnel is an innocent bystander of this deliberateness, try to make this particular Schroeder look like he's a bad person? Of course not, because he is a bad person. Lastly, because there are some people, some videos, I put like this, where it's like, oh my goodness, it's not what people think on here. Oh, I was looking to see the video, the couple of videos I was showing you earlier, where some of these comments were, oh, that's not really racist attack, and oh my goodness, basically without saying black, oh, certain people are always trying to bring up racism, but if it was vice versa, first of all, I'd be like, I would say, fool. First of all, there's no such thing as vice versa within America. Black males are not the most disrespectful, the most murderous, the most assaulting personnel toward white folks, people. That's not the way that it works for centuries. Not going to play that little stupid tactic, because some people love trying to play that game, right? But then when you do reality vice versa, oh my goodness, black folks always trying to sit there and they'll call that racism. And then black folks who know the game, so it's piece of crowd. We know you're the most violent ass people. Crime show that situation. You the most raucous type people. You sit there and commit just as much murders as you try to sit there and portray black folks. You commit so many murders yourself. You are the number one people, males out there, ones applies to, who commit the most crimes toward enforcement personnel. You are the most arson people. You are the most white collar crimes embezzlement person. You're the most the list goes on, right? The most scamming people for centuries, should we say, certain type of scams. Let me phrase that. You get the point, right? But it's always got to be about trying to sit there and make black males the boogeyman. Last part of this is said that Schroeder, 44, had white supremacist tattoos and had used racial slurs previously. One of those incidents led to him being convicted of a misdemeanor in 2003. Let me read this again. One of the previous incidents of this white supremacist Schroeder, he had white supremacist tattoos and had used racial, nig slurs before previously. One of those incidents led to him being convicted of a misdemeanor in 2003, which included a hate crime again. Allegation. Now, allegation, it happened. He got into a fight with a white male and called him the nig word? Nope. Left and right? Nope. Did he got into a conversation, racial epithets with an Hispanic person? No, because they say, well, Hispanic is not a race. Well, I'm not going to go on out. It is a pseudo race. That's a whole different topic. Did he get into a conversation to call racial epithets to what we call Native Americans? No. Did he get into a conversation about using racial epithets to a certain type of caste system agedness in America? No. Did he get into anyway, you get the point. No, he got into a fight with a black man who asked him to stop smoking a cigarette next to him. Right? But black males are the most violent. I don't think so. And they keep getting, unfortunately, black people collectively with this little disgusting tactic. They'll utilize one main category of criminality of murder. And they'll just keep trying to pound that nonsense of one category of making it act like if black folks are the most criminality with murder. And then you look at crime statistics, it's infantile level research, and you see the number of murders in comparison to what they want to say black people commit murders. It is not that gigantic. And how many people, how many Caucasian personnel, the ones it applies to, have murdered black folks that is not reported? Oh, you best believe it's numbers that are out there that's not reported. So you best believe if it was reality that was showing the situation truly, oh, it'll be just as many and probably even more murders committed by certain males within certain parts of Panama's culture. If it was really being equalness in reality. And do you ask the question, then ask them to explain the majority of criminality is done by numbers of males within the Panama's culture. Again, the number one number of males who commit the most crimes toward enforcement people is numbers of Caucasian males. You see, you got them then because you can't, because you didn't read them through. And what they'll do is when you got them on the fence like that, many will say, well, yeah, okay, well, that's because it's more numbers of Anglo male. No, we're not going to play that little tactic. See, they weren't talking about that when they wanted to talk about, black males doing some black males doing that. But the minute you sit there and read right through them on that situation, because you're like, no, you can't sit there and have your cake and your ice cream too. No, I'm not going to play that tactic. So I just kind of want to relay this over on this topic, on this particular Hell's Angel, Andrew Schroeder, KKK, super hatred, American black male terrorist, anti-American black male terrorist man. I thank you for tuning in to the Black Men Experiences.